Hello and welcome to this special sport and business conversation that I'm having with Professor Vijay Pereira and Edgar Asperger. Edgar was a student at Neoma, finished his MBA, currently working in the fintech space, and Professor Pereira, one of the most distinguished sports business professors in the world, published in many, many places, including academic journals and popular places like Forbes. So Vijay, first thing to you, mega event, jackpot or burden?
No doubt, a big jackpot. No burden at all. It's a much needed game, Boria. Over in the last few years, we have seen the pandemic, we have seen economies not doing very well, we have seen people's mood falling, really. And the last was the Ukraine war. And so this is really looking forward to. Also, remember, Boria, Paris is hosting it for the third time. Only the second country in the world after London to host it for the third time. Next Olympics 2028, after the Parisian, will be Los Angeles, only the third country. So really, there is a lot to look forward by the Parisians and by the sporting community across the world. Remember, the French are very particular about how much they spend and how much they can get back. That's how they do business. But also, they have learned from the previous Olympics. For example, they are purely looking at being investing into everything that is sustainable. The bridge that you can see here is going to be the center of all long distance events. There's the triathlon, cycling. Now they call it, they will have temporary setup on the bridge with not much investment, and then they will dismantle it. So this is the sort of a plan that they have to use Paris. Remember also that Paris is a big tourist place, so they cannot tinkle too much with the infrastructure. So this 2024 Parisian Olympics, they will look at investments very wisely, but then also looking at it very sustainably.
So from this standpoint, technology now plays a massive role because see broadcast with smartphones coming in, 5G technology, you are able to send data to different parts of the world within seconds from every seat. Tell me, Edgar, in your own space, the fintech space, using technology, we've seen sporting revolutions. How are you seeing this domain, the tech, sport, business domain going forward?
Oh, I think that's a very, very interesting point that you raise. And actually, it's funny if you think about that, they were considering esports as one of the possible events in this Olympics, which would be based on broadcasting, on technology, and on these live sharing events. So I think that's a big move that would go towards this direction. And this is a general thing that we will observe in the Olympics in the future. And I think Paris has a great opportunity to create a precedent of utilizing this developments by using, I don't know, you could even push it as far as virtual rooms where people can chat about things. You can really bring in live broadcasts where people can communicate, and you can use these tools to bring the people from the world together that don't have the luck to be there physically. So you can actually create an even more inclusive opportunity for this Olympics, which I think is super interesting and gives a lot of chances for the future and can be a great best practice for the future.
Okay, so Vijay, what Edgar is saying is, it opens up newer aspects, newer areas, newer subjects. So from your own institutional standpoint as an academic, we have seen so far sport being treated as a silo, business being treated as a silo. I mean, despite there being organic synergies, we hardly see proper academic research going on, right? We've both seen that in different parts of the world. Do you think Paris will be able to bridge this gap? I mean, for your own self, you are working in the sport business domain now. We are collaborating. Do you see more and more students getting interested? Because obviously there is glamour in this domain. Vijay,
absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, Boria. If you look at our Forbes piece, we talked about leadership lessons that we learn both from sport and business. And that's itself is an example, is huge. But also it's best practices that I think Edgar was mentioning. Very much, the time is absolutely right where we go deeper into identifying and researching, investigating what is happening in that huge domain. Now, like I say, we have reached a time where innovative ways, including technology, has come to the fore to bring the two together. And so in that sense, I think this 2024 Olympics and the lead up to that, Boria, with the conference the workshop in Oxford, the workshop in Paris in next year, and then the big one is the biggest ever conference to be held in Paris, sponsored by Neoma and Taylor and Francis. Here you will see a lot of research come in from across the world, and it'll be very interesting. Now we will set up different tracks. What happens in the CSR, corporate social responsibility domain? What happens in the sustainability domain? What happens in pure for-profit? What is the role of non-government organizations? So on and so forth. So it's just immense and huge potential academically to get into this deeper. Boria.
Okay. Before I close it out with Vijay, sorry, Edgar, let me make this announcement. What Vijay just said, please follow Sport in Society Journal and Red Sports for the popular platform. Vijay's social media handles, because the conferences and the workshops he mentions, we will have updates regularly. If you are interested in participating, contributing, sending in abstracts, please follow us, reach out to us, DM us, send emails, and you will get more. But as he said, major workshops and conferences lined up in the lead up to Paris. Edgar, finally, if you read the 2000 Reforms Commission document of the International Olympic Committee, you will see that their main thrust was it should no longer be restricted to a city. You have also seen with the Commonwealth Games, certain events going beyond Birmingham, certain events going to, say, a Coventry or a Solihull or whatever. So how important is it to make it France's Olympics rather than Paris's Olympics? How important is it to integrate the rest of the population rather than they say, oh, doesn't matter, it's this city? How do you look at that from a sport business standpoint?
I think, as I said before, again, it's an incredible opportunity. I mean, just imagine that part of the Paris, France Olympics will be placed in Tahiti. The surfing competition will not be even in this country formally, but in another country. And I think this is very fantastic because it gives opportunity to make this more like an even wider event. Like you will not only be in Paris, which is a powerful brand, as Vijay very, very rightly says, and the people love it, but still it gives more people access to this event. You can see your athletes without traveling too far away. And on the most part of it, as I said, Tahiti is probably not used to have Olympic events. I mean, it's probably the first time ever. I might be wrong here, but I assume it's probably the first time that an Olympic competition is actually happening there. And I think just from an inclusivity, from a possibility point, from a reaching, from as well as for the sponsors and for the athletes and for everybody, this is such a cool opportunity to get more presence, more visibility, but also a broader experience of France itself, which is a beautiful country. It's not only Paris. France itself is a very beautiful country, and there's no shame in showing this country.
Fantastic. So again, he's talking about inclusivity. Vijay spoke about sustainable legacy. Vijay, for the moment, thank you very much. But next day, it's Global South, and how important is it from the perspective of sport and business that we tap into these markets? Thank you very, very much to both my guests, Professor Vijay Pereira and Edgar Asperger, for joining me on this particular broadcast. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Boria, for having me.